What up? What up? This is RJ Fantasy Football talking. We're back
And
again, and
I'm
I'm Rodney.
JJ. What's going on, my
What's going
friend?
on, man? I ain't making no noise, man. You know, another day, another dollar, baby. You know how it is. Hey, you back, man. So, how's
Yeah, it's
everything going on your
good. It's
end?
good. Having a couple of technical difficulties trying to get the show started, uh, but it's going all right. Just working on a couple of things, having
It's
fun at
okay.
work, and trying to stay
Mm.
safe. We our governor just supposedly said he was going to end our shelter in place stuff, so we'll be able to go out. They say some of stuff's going to open up on Friday, but it's
Same here. So we opened up on Friday. They got like I guess retail stores and barbershops and all that stuff supposed to be opening up, but you know.
yeah,
Hey, it's a good thing and it's a
right,
bad thing. You
right,
still got to be careful. So, at the end of the day. So, you know, but we got a good show in store.
yeah.
Show for the people today. We talking fantasy sleepers today, people. So, I'm gonna give you my five, and he's gonna give you your five, and
Yeah,
we
and
just gonna
this
conversate
week we're
about it.
talking, like you said,
So,
sleepers. Before we jump in, how do you define a sleeper? What were you looking for when you started putting your stuff together?
well, the way I did
Uh,
it was I looked at the competition that player had on a roster as far as his position, and I looked at second year. I looked at some second year players as because some of those second year players don't have that competition at receiver or running back
right.
or tight end or whatever, and they're the man. They could be the man this year. So they're the ones. And then you look at production
Hmm.
from last year too. So that also can kind of sway your opinion a little bit too. So that's the way I did it. So I also went off overall rankings from some of the
Okay.
other sites that I looked
All
at.
right.
So
Yeah,
that's the way I did
I
it though.
follow a lot of the similar things you talked about. One thing I really look for with my sleepers is I'm looking for guys. The definition is some folks that other people are sleeping on, guys that nobody's thinking of. So most of the guys I tried to go with are guys I think you'll probably get towards the end of your draft if you're drafting. Uh, a standard 10 team league, maybe these are guys you're going to get at like round 10, round 11. Some guys that
Yeah.
aren't gonna make or break your squad, but you might find this hidden gem that nobody else was thinking about, and you get a maybe not a weekly starter, but you get those fill-in guys, and so those are my sleeper picks. So I'm really interested to hear what you
I
came up
mean,
with.
it reminds you. I don't know if you
Yes,
remember. You remember Peyton
yeah,
Hillis
nobody saw that
back in the
coming.
day. Peyton Hillis was a big.
Right.
Nobody saw that coming. Is another guy that used to play for Houston, a running back. I can't think of his name.
Well,
He went to
hold on.
Tennessee.
You talking about Arian Foster? Trying to remember. Yeah, because
Yes, Arian Foster was
that's the
another
guy who
sleeper.
nobody even picked up until probably week 2, because it's like he just came out of nowhere. Then everybody's in a run. I was lucky in one of my leagues to pick him up that year. Yeah,
Oh,
he ended up being like a starter that nobody
oh, a
was
monster.
expecting.
I
So
love Arian Foster.
exactly. So
So
there's some
I
guys
mean,
like
he
that out there. So hopefully we can help you all pick up on it and help you guys win y'all leagues. That's what we're here to do.
So I'm gonna go ahead and start
All
it
right.
off. So first I'm gonna start off, and I'm gonna start with N'Keal Harry, from New England.
Good one.
And the reason I went with him is because obviously everybody knows the situation in New England, knows
Right.
Tom Brady. Julian Edelman's a year older. Mohamed Sanu is a year
Uh,
older. They got a rookie or second year quarterback coming in. And, I just think him and that second year quarterback, they going because they probably been together training,
huh.
playing together on the second team and stuff like that. So I think they're going to blend in and they're going to have a connection to where they probably rely on each other more than probably a Judah Element to me.
Uh,
And right now, he's going like 61st off the board as far as
yeah,
receivers.
that's
So
deep.
if you was to get him,
That's a deep sleeper right
that's crazy
there.
deep. So yeah, so if you was to get him and he actually produced for
Yeah.
you, I think that'd be a big steal. And I think he gonna be the number one receiver out there now.
Julian Edelman is
Because
old,
they have nobody.
so
Yes. So
I agree with you.
I mean,
I like that pick. The audience, I know you already know why, but everyone else to see why I like that
yeah.
pick a little bit later. The only thing that scares me about him is what? That quarterback situation. Uh, I don't see. Yeah.
I mean,
Uh huh. You one would think.
and they have to throw the ball. So the thing is, if he on the field for 80% of the snaps, I mean, anyway, even if it doesn't benefit him in a real life situation, it benefits him in a fantasy
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah.
So therefore, he's going to get those 8 to 10 receptions a game.
Right.
And like I said, Edelman is not young anymore. So I mean, and then that's really Mohamed Sanu. Come on, man. Let's be real, man. Those two receivers. Come on, man. Like seriously, no.
You're not buying
I don't
into
really
him.
think so, man. So
Nah, me either.
no. He got hurt last year, and I think he can get hurt
But
this year too.
and he
So
is not young
I
either.
mean,
So you know what I'm saying?
so no. And my second one is Darius Geis.
Right.
A lot of people don't like Darius Geis. He's
He
always
has
hurt.
been his whole career.
But I believe this year because they have no other running back than
Yeah.
Adrian Peterson. Adrian Peterson is the only other running back that's on that roster right now. And I have been reading that they're going to use him like McCaffrey.
If they can.
So, and you can get him. I mean, you could get him at 33rd,
Yeah.
like the 33rd running back off the board this year. So just imagine, even if they say they're going to use him as a 3-down back catching out of the backfield, like the McCaffrey, and just mistakenly, like just what is weird is he has the coach that was the coach for McCaffrey last year. So he could use him in that same way. And I think he can be a top 10 running back this year once it's all said and done, if he stays healthy. And that's the big factor. He has
Now,
to stay healthy.
let me ask you, since you're talking about him, with his help, do you think that's going to scare people? Because I was looking that he's getting average draft position is around like 69, 70, depending on somewhere on that time, that range. Do you think the injury is going to scare him off from enough people for you to sneak in again, or do you think you're going to have to invest a big pick for a guy that you might not be convinced is going to play a lot?
I don't think so. I don't think so because of the fact that you got to think of all the running backs that's coming off before him. He's not a round 2, 3, 4, 5 running back. He's more like a 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, which you probably can get nobody's really thinking about because he had a bad injury last year.
Yeah,
he had
he's
an
been
injury
injured
a bad
every
one before
year.
that. So it's like people might think he ain't no good at that point because of the injuries that he's had. But I mean, at the end of the day, I would take a shot on him. I mean, because Adrian Peterson, I feel like he can beat out Adrian Peterson at this point in his career. If he can't do that, he don't need to be in nobody's league, personally.
I agree with you there.
I mean, that's just me. But I think honestly, he could be a good running back. And if you think about it, before he got hurt, he was balling, lad. Before that, I think he got hurt in the second game of the year. Before that, they set Adrian Peterson on the bench. They didn't even play him because that kid was that good. Yeah. So that tells you something. So, and then they ain't drafted running back in the draft, so that also tells you something too.
That tells you a lot.
I mean, and that's another one. Yeah, that tells you a lot. My third one is Teddy Bridgewater. Mm-hmm. Right now, he's going 26 off the board among quarterbacks. And if you look at the numbers that he put up, which is 1,384, 9 touchdowns in 5 games in that offense, and going into Carolina, you got McCaffrey and you got a couple of good receivers because I know they just signed Robbie Anderson. So he's a jetter down the field, and they got 2 other good receivers that can blend in, that can mix in. But I think with Teddy Bridgewater, because he's a dink and dunk quarterback, so he's going to help McCaffrey in the long run, just on the fact that if he can't get it down the field, he's definitely going to get to McCaffrey. I think he's going. I think he's good.
An improvement over who they had last year. So I like him. Here's my question about. Sometimes it's hard to call a quarterback a sleeper. There are some out there, and he's definitely going very low. Would you recommend him as your sleeper in a 1 quarterback league, or are you like specifically thinking 2 quarterback leagues?
Well, yeah, I
Right.
think it's a difference because if you do one quarterback, you got to have a backup. Now, I feel like it's other quarterbacks that you can get before him that's more of a proven backup. Now, two
Yeah.
quarterbacks, definitely. I mean, it's because you got to think about it this way. He's a guaranteed starter. He's not going to lose his job.
Right.
So if you're doing two quarterbacks, you want to have that third quarterback as a safety blanket to say, you know what, if my guy get hurt, he can step in and actually do the job. So you don't want to get him and well, you don't want to get nobody
Right.
that ain't gonna start, basically, or they're gonna have a chance of losing their job. So I think Teddy Bridgewater he's a sneaky three. Right now they say he's probably a quarterback three, but if he had a productive year, because we've seen it before where quarterbacks will come in and actually do well. And really you think about it, I want to say Brett Favre one year when he was with the he was with the Vikings. He was drafted pretty late, and he actually had a monster year. Just to use him as an example, because nobody really thought
Right.
he was going to do anything. So I mean, you can put Teddy where
Right.
with Teddy Bridgewater. He might come out with 4,000 yards. Who knows? We never know. But I think he's a sleeper quarterback that you probably can grab and late in the probably round 6 or 7, honestly, because once you get your first, especially in a
Uh-huh.
round two quarterback system, you get your two quarterbacks first 2 rounds anyway. Most drafts. Now, I mean that's just me. I would get my first two quarterbacks anyway. I don't know about you,
Uh,
so
before you go to your
thinking
next,
that.
so just
So
pausing to thanks those we got watching. I see already Jasper, Olena, Anita, and Tamara Fallen. However, I can see from the question that's posed, it's definitely coming from Rodney Fallen. He signed his name, but I just want to let you know we're gonna talk some Kansas City later because my wife's from Kansas City, so I'm sort of contractually obligated to say something about Kansas City every episode. So we got you covered.
Rodney, we're
I'm
not
gonna
gonna talk
talk about
about Kansas
Kansas
City,
City.
Rodney. I'm sorry.
I have to.
Well, we know you're gonna talk about.
Yeah.
Well,
Why
I
not?
might
Why
throw in a
not?
Kansas City
All
guy,
right,
but it's all
continue
right.
as
It's
you
okay.
were. As you were.
But okay, it's
Yeah.
Brashad Perriman is another one. Last year, if you think about last year when he was with Tampa Bay, he
When he
came on
had
those
to,
last
because
three
when they had
games.
the
He was
injuries.
balling.
Remember, for those
Yeah,
that played
he was.
daily fantasy football, Brashad Perriman became a really big request amongst people because, yeah, because
Oh yeah. So he did numbers in those last
right,
3 games, but for the year he had
uh huh,
645 yards and 6 touchdowns, and most of those 6 touchdowns
yeah,
came in the last 3 games. And the reason I picked him as one of my five is because they got Jameis Crowder as their top receiver. So and they signed him to a 1 year deal, $8 million, and they guaranteed him $6 million this year alone. So you know they're gonna play him as the number one receiver. He has
mm-hmm,
nobody out there that can beat him out. And I mean, obviously, he's a big receiver and he can catch the ball. So I
yeah,
think at the end of the day, Crowder is a slot. Crowder is really not that many catches like that. So I think he would be a perfect person if you can get him late round,
mm-hmm,
because if you see what he did in Tampa Bay, and he continue to do that, I think you'll be perfect. He'll be perfect for your lineup. He going right now. He's going probably
right,
60th off the board up among receivers, which is really low for receivers at this point. So I mean, right now
yeah.
he's a wide receiver three in my book.
When I looked earlier, I was looking online just to see where he landed. It was like 165, like overall the average draft position. So you're thinking maybe 15th round, 14, maybe before you have to start thinking about it. So that's a guy you're gonna probably snag real late in the game, and he can be a difference maker. He's gonna be a difference maker.
Oh yeah, definitely. He probably can be an every week
Right.
starter because he's going to be that number one receiver out there. If you're running a wide receiver, running back slot, and you can slide him in there every week, you probably can put him in there every week, and he'll do solid numbers for you. I mean, honestly, I think that'll be good. And my last one
A
is
lot of
he
he's
a
a well
sleeper,
known.
but a lot of
Yeah.
people don't have doubts. They have doubts about him.
Uh
So
huh.
I'm going David Johnson. And right now, among running backs, he's 20th off the board right now, which is for him is really low compared to what he did like 2-3 years ago when he went for 1,700 yards. But I'm gonna give you a glaring stat. Carlos Hyde.
Yeah.
Carlos Hyde got cut last year from this Cleveland Browns, and Houston picked him up. He ran the ball 245 times for 1,070 yards and 6 touchdowns last year. So they gave him the ball that many times after just picking him up. Imagine what they're going to do for David Johnson. So I think David Johnson is going to be a monster this year. I think he's probably going to go for 1,200 yards, and I think he's probably going to go for over 10 touchdowns. And if I can get him, I'm going to grab him. And I'm just letting you know right now. So, I mean, everybody got their feeling about him, but I think he's going to have a bounce back year.
Much like we was talking about with Darius Geis, it's that injury thing that might scare some people off. But David Johnson is going to go because they're going to use him in that offense. Like he's better than Carlos Hyde, and Carlos Hyde did put in some work last year. So.
Thanks. That's my prime. that's my prime argument for anybody that want to say why you pick him. Just think about it. Carlos Hyde got 245 touches last year after being cut by Cleveland. That tells you something to the fact that they're going to give him the ball probably 255.
If he stays healthy, he's going to put in work. He's definitely going to be on my list. Well, not on my sleeper list for tonight, but he's going to be on my list of people I'm looking for. Because he's going to surprise. I think he'll surprise some people. I got to compete with you in a couple of leagues, but I'm going to grab him somewhere.
Well, just don't draft before me, because if you do, you probably can grab him. If I draft before you,
not even worried.
So don't.
We got another viewer. Deb Bracey wants to know how to catch up on fantasy football. I won't use the old people reference that she has up in there. But anybody can do some fantasy football if you want to. The best way to get started, I'm biased, is to watch this show, because we're gonna give you all the stuff. What we're really trying to do this off season before the games get started is cover some basics a little bit every week. So we started off just talking about the draft, and we're gonna go through different positions. But while we're talking about each position, we're gonna try to give you some tips. And then, before the season gets started, for those that aren't up to snuff on all the fantasy football, we're going to try to put some tips. In fact, we might even try to start putting some tips in on our page, before we get to the fantasy football for dummies show, where we'll, give people a little bit more stuff. So keep listening. We're going to get you caught up on everything you need to know. So I like your list up. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
And then also if you have any,
slide your questions down low. Yeah, send us a message.
Send the messages. We definitely will get back with you. We have no problem with that. So we'll get back with you. We'll answer them. We'll give you all the advice we can give you. So definitely get with us.
Oh, yeah.
Stay
We're trying
tuned.
to do this.
We got a lot going on here. So
being on conversations. So I guess I'll get started with my list. And I'm going to start right where you started. N'Keal Harry, like we said, how many times we do things alike in a lot of cases. I'm actually completely surprised this is the only player that we both had listed, because I was expecting us to duplicate like 2 or 3 dudes. I can't say anything more about Harry than what you already said. The only thing that potentially scares me is his quarterback situation. But the Patriots apparently aren't worried about the quarterback situation, so hey, why should I be? So if I think that's a good way to go if you're looking for a person. Like we said, he's going to put in some work. The only thing that really messed N'Keal Harry up last year was he was injured. So he only played in, 7 games? No, he was 7, but he ended up with 2 touchdowns, 105 yards. So I think that's a good place to look. And you're definitely going to get him as a sleeper, because there's not going to be a ton of people, scaring to drop him early off the board. So you see him? Yeah.
It's weird to me.
Yeah. Weird, but given the situation, I'm not completely surprised by it. But I'm with you, obviously in agreement that that's somebody you need to look for. So
like he's gonna be a bona fide one.
Yeah.
Going into it.
I think
they drafted him high year before.
It was a first rounder. So
Yeah, he was a first round pick. And
so
you act like they're not going to use him or something.
right. So.
That's crazy. Look, if he's there for me, I'm grabbing him. I'm telling you now.
Well, he'll be there,
So,
and the next guy on my list is going to be there for you late as well. I'm talking about Preston Williams, and he had a lot the same situation as Harry did, where he didn't play the whole season. 8 games is what they listed him for. He put in 428 yards, 3 touchdowns. He's a fairly big dude, 6'5". What I like about him, though, and you're going to see this theme going along with a lot of the players I'm picking. He also does special teams. He did return. In fact, he got hurt doing a return last year. You never know year to year how they use their players, whether he'll be doing kickoffs, but he's a good wide receiver. That quarterback situation scares me a little bit too, because I'm not on the Tua train, but we'll see what happens with it. But you think it'll take them that long? They're gonna roll with Fitzmagic until. Hey, the thing about Fitzmagic is it's gonna happen. He's gonna eventually do something, right? But go ahead.
So I think playing him week 4, week 5, just to kind of get his feet wet a little bit, just to kind of get him in the books. I think because they're gonna be losing games.
I mean, if they benched him for Josh Rosen, they'll bench him for Tui. So I think Preston has a chance to do some good stuff. He showed potential last year for the few games that he played, and I think that, like I said, when I'm talking sleepers, I'm thinking the guys you're picking at points where it doesn't even matter whether they stay on your team long anyway. So take a gamble on them, see if it works. And I'm going to say the same thing about Paris Campbell because I went with the all-injured wide receiver list. I just want you to know. Everybody that didn't play last year is who I'm saying is going to be your sleeper picks for this year. Paris Campbell, he put in 7 games. He only had 127 yards, 1 touchdown. He, like I said, 7 games. He got hurt, but he shows a lot of potential. He's fast. He put in, I think it was like a 4.340 at the combine. He's one of those guys that we were talking last week about, Ruggs on the Raiders. Paris Campbell can be that same type of player. And who's he going to be competing against? You got T.Y. Hilton, who's in a contract year. So T.Y. is going to probably put in some work, but he was injured a lot of last year. And quite frankly, T.Y. isn't that strong player he's not that good that I would rather draft. He's not someone I'm going to jump out to go with. So Paris Campbell can put in work. And then you got Zach Pascal that was out there who stepped up a lot of times. But I'm telling you, Paris Campbell can outdo both of those players given the opportunity. And if he does special teams, then I think that's somewhere else you want to go with him as well. So that's what I'm really looking for. If I'm going to go with these late picks, I'm going for guys who have some versatility. I want some guys that, hey, even if they don't put in at their major position, they'll jump in, give you some kick returns. If that's something that you get points for in your league. If you don't get points for those, then these guys aren't going to be quite as shiny of a thing for you.
Sleepers is really the media team. Because you got to think about your first 6 rounds is mainly your starters. That's going to be the ones that's going to play the most in your lineup. And then 7, 8, 9, 10, anything past that, you're thinking about those guys you're just taking a risk on at some point to see if they pan out. Because those guys,
if they don't pan out, you can move on to somebody else. Right.
And you can move on to somebody else. So, and I like that because, Phillip Rivers is out there now, and all he does is throw the ball anyway. And I feel like they're going to build that offense a little bit around him just from the LA Chargers days where he was just throwing the ball 40 times around. So I think that's a good pick. So it could be. And T.Y. Hilton got to show up, and they need a second receiver anyway because they just lost their tight end.
Yeah, let me know I'm getting some feedback. I'm gonna turn your volume up a little bit, Rodney, so hopefully people will be able to hear you. We also got another viewer to chime in. Key West Lou's looking forward to our fantasy football for dummies class, so stay tuned. we'll let you know. But I hope my man Rodney is still watching this show. Not you, Rodney, but the other Rodney. I hope he's watching because it's time to talk Kansas City. I can't go. This is the one player on my list who didn't get hurt last year. In fact, this guy went into as a rookie in the Pro Bowl. He's the first rookie. Yeah, that's right. He was a Pro Bowler as a specialist. He didn't play because they were winning Super Bowls, but he got selected for the Pro Bowl. First rookie to ever have an 80-yard reception and a 100-yard touchdown return in one season. In that season, in fact, I think there's only 4 or so players who've ever done it. Period. In one season, McCole Hardman is lightning in a bottle. He is fast. He's everything you would want for your wide receiver. So he was on
list because I had to put everybody else, but he definitely on my list. And the reason why I say he's on my list because I think he beats out Sammy Watkins this year. He beats out Sammy Watkins. Sammy Watkins, they gave him a lot of money, but I think Sammy Watkins
they're going to give him even more responsibility than he had last year. I think McCole Hardman is going to be dynamite. And right now, of the players I selected, he's actually going higher than their average draft position was 116. He only had 538 yards, 6 touchdowns last year. But he made a Pro Bowl as a rookie. You know what I'm saying? And so if they have him, even if they just have him as a return specialist again, he can put in some numbers for you. So I think I've.
I like that one. I ain't mad at that one. I mean, you know how I feel about them Kansas City players.
I didn't even think about that.
Bowl, but I like that one.
And that's why he didn't make your list.
I'm a little hurt because my Niners lost, but I'm gonna keep my bias to the side tonight, and I'm gonna be like, you know what, that's a really good pick because I think with him as the second receiver out there with Kelsey and all them boys, I think
here's the thing.
He's going to get that
Kansas
single
City,
coverage.
And I'm mad that Rodney's listening because they have so many weapons. I mean, you can't cover everybody. So I'm going to be stacked on Kansas City players as much as I can. I told you last week that I like the rookie that they drafted as running back. I'm a Travis Kelce fan. Yeah. That's my dude right there. I'm gonna let you have that delusion since you can't go wrong with either one. And of course, the number one dude out there in Kansas City is Mahomes. So that's just a fantasy dream on that whole team. So I think Hardman is in that list of guys that you want to have this year. I expect breakout stuff from him coming up. So.
That's a good one. I agree with that, and he's on my list to pick up too. You got to beat him.
Hey, we had an agreement. You get Debo, right? So I can have McCole.
No.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you have him.
Not to touch Debo.
I'm gonna get DK Metcalf, and they'll let you have
Debo alone.
Yeah, I'm gonna have DK. You can have Debo, then I get McCole Hardman. So we'll work out something.
I mean,
I don't know. I'm gonna have a whole team full of wide receivers, right?
Come on. Yeah, I'm gonna let you draft him, but I'm gonna need you to leave Debo. Leave me something to get at least. I mean, you want DK. I want to snatch DK, but DK probably gonna be going early. But I mean, hey, Hardman is gonna be that guy. He gonna emerge way past Watkins because Watkins he a year older.
I was surprised he came back. I honestly didn't expect him to be back on that team this year. I thought he had his shine in that Super Bowl, and then I expected him to be done. They were going to just move on, but he's there. But he's Sammy Watkins, so he's going to get hurt because that's his thing. That's his MO. So whatever.
Well, I think they did that for wide receiver depth too. At the end of the day, because they need the depth. But I mean, at the end of the day, I think he's because I read something about him. They said he's the second receiver. So anyway, I just don't. I don't even count Watkins at this point. I think he's going to be the second receiver in that 2 receiver set. So at the end of the day, so
Hopefully,
what
we're
I
working
think.
out some of these sound issues. Let us know in the comments. I see some people talking about. So if you can't hear all this great stuff we're spitting out, let us know. We'll try to get it to you. I got one more sleeper pick though before we continue with the rest of the show. I told you this was going to be a surprise. The 4 people I had previously were all wide receivers, so I said I got to switch up and have something else. I said I'm gonna look for a running back that nobody's got. I told you this guy. Maybe this guy is going to be someone in your division. You tried to guess it earlier, so now it's time to tell you. I don't know. Some guy with the Seahawks. So here's the deal about the Seahawks. Obviously, Chris Carson is the guy, but he's coming off a hip injury. The Rashad Penny's supposed to have been the next guy. He might not even start the season. I was reading that he could be on the physically unable to perform list to start the year. So last year they were so desperate. In fact, who's the other guy? His name escapes me right now. Homer. He had an injury last year as well. So they had to go in and pick up my man Beast Mode. And there was recent talk about they might be picking Marshawn Lynch up again. So all I'm saying is the 2 main running backs in Seattle are hurt. One of them might not start the year. The other one is going to be iffy, even if and when he plays. So there's going to be this is when you're going to have to keep your ears to the ground and listen out for some news developing. If it's Homer, I think you can get him in as a sleeper because not 2 people are going to go for him. If Marshawn Lynch is suddenly announced as the guy, it's going to be hard to call that a sleeper pick. Because everybody loves beast mode, and the moment he's up there, he's not going to go as high as a lot of other running backs, but there's going to be a market for him. So I think I see Rodney say he's good now. He's got the sound. That's good. So whoever that running back is that's not Chris Carson in Seattle, I think it's going to be a good guy you can pick up late. And just because of the injuries they suffered with last year, I'm feeling a good chance that this person, whether it's Homer, whether it's Marshawn Lynch, or whether they pick up somebody else sometime in the offseason, is going to have a chance to put in some big numbers. So whoever they go with, that's my last sleeper pick for the day.
Well, with the whole Marshawn Lynch thing, I think I've read that he's trying to come back, and I don't really think he would.
Did you watch the playoffs last year?
I mean, he was
it's fantasy football. All I need is the touchdown.
Like he ain't the same Marshawn Lynch.
And I think Pete Carroll finally learned the lesson from that Super Bowl that they tragically lost to New England. And if they're in the goal line, beast mode, they're gonna just smash it in. All I care about are the touchdowns. So, yeah.
I mean, that's true, but at the
he's
end
not
of the day,
Marshawn Lynch of 5-10 years ago, but he's. It's a sleeper pick. You're getting them.
No.
Even if it's Marshawn Lynch, he has the name, but he's, like you say, he's not the guy people are going to think of. So you'll probably get him maybe 8th round if somebody really excited about Marshawn Lynch. I think he'll even fall later than that because there's so much uncertainty surrounding it. But I think it's a good pick you'll have as somebody that might fill in.
I'll take my chances on
definitely.
Chris Carson first before I do
this. I am not. But just to be clear, I am not in any way saying pick Homer or Marshawn Lynch over Chris Carson. Go with Chris Carson, but you're gonna have to handicap him because he's coming off a hip injury. He's a running back. You don't. Hey, I'm not gambling on Chris Carson and not picking up whoever is gonna be the second running back there.
I can agree with you. Now it's funny.
I'm missing somebody.
You're missing somebody. Yes, you're missing Hunter. Where's Hunter? Like, where's Hunter? Come on, man. Come on. And people, I want to apologize. So I want to apologize to my great friend JJ first of all, because Hunter Renfrow is a Las Vegas Raider. And I did my research
that you did not do last week, by the way.
And I do want to apologize to you that was last week. I want to apologize because I looked at his numbers and he actually did pretty well. And I think he is going to be good this year.
He's going to be good.
He might scratch 1,000 yards this year. he might be good this year. So I mean, I apologize. I'm
I
sorry.
said last
I
week
just want to
that
say
y'all were gonna laugh at
so.
me, and y'all did. I don't really care. Hunter Renfro is probably best
Okay.
suited for this week's episode as a sleeper. But I told the people last week I have so much confidence in him that he's better than a sleeper to me. I think he's a guaranteed 1,000-yard receiver. In fact, I was reading an article just earlier this week that posed that exact same question. They weren't as confident as I was, but they were like, can Hunter Renfro be a 1,000-yard receiver this year? I'm here to tell you emphatically, yes, he can be. He will be. And the good thing about Hunter Renfro is you're going to get him late. Because like I said last year, he's going really late. 198 is his average draft position right now. So he might not even get drafted in your league. So you go, after the league is over, when you go back and look at your list and you say, but after your draft is over, you go back and look at your list and say, what is this garbage I drafted? Who's out there in free agency I can pick up? Hunter Renfro will be there, and he will save your season. You'll be like, oh, wow, I'm glad that JJ told me to pick up Hunter Renfro, no matter what Rodney is saying through his wife's Facebook about no Raiders ever do well. So I hear you, and I choose to just banish your comments from this episode when I'm talking about the greatness of the silver and black.
Look, you're going way too far. I did apologize, but I think you're going way too far. I think he might scratch. He might do 1,000 yards, but I mean, you're trying to say he's going to be.
I'm saying that. That is exactly what I'm saying. He's going to be a bona fide stud.
Why?
And I'm going to go early and grab Cooper Kupp.
No, he's not.
And then I'm going to go late and pick up Hunter Renfro. And I'm just going to own the whole PPR league with those two wide receivers by themselves. I'm trying to tell you. All right, continue.
Okay, whatever. I give you that. I'm gonna give you that. Okay, I do have some other ones that I did. I made another extra list. And actually, I think Matt Breida is probably gonna be one of the best sleeper running backs in the draft. He went to a Miami team with just Jordan Howard in front of him. He can beat out Jordan Howard in his sleep. And the fact that he had 623 yards and 2 touchdowns in a backfield with 3 other running backs, that tell you something. So if
I like that.
So he is another one that y'all need to look out for because I'm telling you, fresh start in Miami. It's only Jordan Howard, and Jordan Howard is not the same Jordan Howard.
To tell you the truth, exactly.
So never. I mean, and I think he's just gonna do
like that.
I feel confident in him because he's fast. He just got to cut out the fumbling. Once he cut that out, I think he'll be all right. I just think that. But I mean, honestly, you probably can get him probably 6th round easy. Probably later than that because nobody's really thinking about him because it's Miami. I mean, let's be real now. So they do of anything, and Fitzpatrick and like Jordan Howard's not even on the radar. So I would go Breida over Jordan Howard. Another one is Justin Herbert, and I get a lot of.
Okay. I was gonna ask you when you think that might happen. Okay. That's okay.
It's not saying him because he got a pair of good receivers.
Yeah.
I mean, the running back is really good. Me and you disagree on the tight end a little bit, but he's still a quality tight end
when he's not injured. That's like I said. That's my only thing about Hunter Henry is when he's not injured. But
so I mean, Justin Herbert is 6'7", 225 pounds, and you telling me he can throw the ball down the field? To me, Tyrod is probably going to hinder those receivers, if anything, because he can't throw down the field.
Here's my So I'm with you for the most part on Herbert taking. Here's my thing. This will officially be the best surrounding cast that Tyrod Taylor's ever had, like ever.
That's true.
I say it like this: if he can't be successful with these guys, then yeah, they're gonna bench him for the rookie. So with
I just think about it this way. You drafted Herbert at 6, right? He went number 6, right? If I'm not mistaken, to Miami. So not to Miami. I'm sorry, to LA. So
yeah,
he went number 6 in the first round. He's a first round draft
yeah,
pick. Tyrod. Soon as that happened, Tyrod should have been worse.
I say like this: when has Tyrod Taylor held on to a starting job everywhere he's been? So
he lost his job.
In the story, right?
That's enough for me.
I see James Johnson agrees with you and saying Herbert would be the rookie of the year. That's a serious statement right there.
James, let me tell you something about James. I know James. James worked with me. James is a big Oregon fan. James loves Herbert. He loves Herbert to the point where he thinks Herbert was the best quarterback in the draft. And we talk about this all the time. And he swayed me a little bit because we was talking about it, and I was like, you might be on to something here. I said, let me do my research. So I did my research, and I was like, do you understand that Herbert only threw, I think he threw under 10 interceptions his whole all last year. He threw 6 interceptions and like 30-something touchdowns all last year. In that offense with those weapons, in that defense, he can be successful. And if Tyrod, I'm telling you, the coach keeps saying
he's saying
Tyrod
what he needs to say.
Guy,
it's not true.
Keep him. No.
Like we said, Tyrod can't hold a job. So I feel for him. But this, like I said, if he can't get it done with this squad around him, he can't get it done. And I fear he exactly.
I mean, with Eckler out there, Mike Williams. I mean, come on, you got all the weapons out there. You can't be
to Baker Mayfield.
Lost.
Well, I see y'all point, and you can sell me on Herbert taking that job because, like I said, that competition is there. But I'm sorry, James, that there's no way he wins Rookie of the Year. That doesn't make sense to me.
I tried to tell him that too, but he don't want to hear. I'm glad you.
I say this. I think they already have the Rookie of the Year trophy engraved with Burrow's name on it for what he's going to do in Cincinnati, and I don't see anything around. I don't see that get. Maybe somebody.
Well,
no.
I mean,
maybe Chase Young. Depending if they want to go defensively, but it's a quarterback league. Yeah.
I don't think they'll do that for Rookie of the Year, but I do think I'm not totally sold on
Burrows. I remember you saying
the guy that went to the Bengals. I'm not sold on him. I feel like he got weapons around him. Yes, I mean he got a ton of weapons around him. But at the end of the day, I'm not sold on the fact that he might win Rookie of the Year because he's in the division is too tough.
That division is tough.
That division
they're
is tough,
going to have to pass the ball because they're worse still than every team. They're even worse than Cleveland. So he's gonna have the floor to shine, and I think he's gonna get it done. He also has, especially if AJ Green is healthy this year, that this is set up for him to do well. Yeah.
I mean, the bright spot I do like what they picked up. I like T. Higgins.
We talked about him last week. Yeah, that's a great.
And
yeah,
I love T. Higgins. T. Higgins, I think, is going to be, and I think they picked T. Higgins too.
Yeah, he's the future.
T. Higgins is going to be that guy to step in and kind of steal that role. But I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I think Herbert got a better cast around him.
Like I said, that team. That's why I said Tyrod might surprise. I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't. That squad around him. I say he has a better cast around him than Burrows has in Cincinnati. So if he does get that spot, he's gonna shine. Because I don't know how much of a fan people are of San Diego, but I just hate to tell you, they're the worst team in the AFC West. Because Denver is going to go past them.
I got a question, though.
Yeah, hold on. Before you get to your question, let me call out, I guess, this guy, Rodney Fallen again, who's spamming us with Pat Holmes videos. And he did want to apologize to you, I think, quite insincerely about beating your 49ers in the Super Bowl. But
Oh gosh, Lord, I hear that enough from your wife. Okay, look, I mean,
Yeah.
really, she came to my house with the championship shirt on. I mean, I think she did that on purpose. With the whole Super Bowl
No,
championship
no,
shirt on, and I
that she
get it. I
wanted.
know.
She was gonna do more. If you want to be thankful for COVID-19, it stopped her from being able to go shop and do all the she wanted to do. Because she was
I mean, that's fine. I'm
gonna
not
rub
mad
it
at
in
it.
your
Look,
face,
but I have
but
my
in a
gripes
nice
about
way.
that.
She was gonna
But
rub
tell
it in your
Rodney,
face in a nice way.
that's all right. Tell Rodney
Yeah.
it's okay. We'll be back next year. I mean, and I only know two real Kansas City fans, and that's him
Okay.
and your wife. Anybody else, I don't even respond to. I just leave them alone. Okay, I'm
All right,
telling you.
and I also see a comment
So
from Anita Bracy. Also, tell us who you're talking about. What division you think? You said she might be agreeing with you about Joe Burrow not getting Rookie of the Year because that division's too tough as well. But I think he will because that division's so tough.
I'm telling you, with that Cleveland defense, that Baltimore defense, that Pittsburgh defense, that team is that they might go 4 and
they're
12.
gonna lose a lot of
Come on,
games,
man.
and he's gonna throw a lot of yards and touchdowns in the meantime.
He might get hurt in that
Now you're
division.
being silly.
I mean, they ain't called a black and blue division for nothing. I mean, come on now. He might be hurt. And the thing is, do you trust him like Joe Burrow to kind of like?
Do I
I
trust
don't know,
him
man. Like
to be the leader of my team?
that's a
Probably
tough
not
one,
because he's
man.
a rookie. I don't trust any rookies, but I trust him as a. If we're talking fantasy football, I trust him as a very late round. I'm not building my fantasy team around him, but he would count as maybe a sleeper. But like I said earlier, it's hard to call quarterback sleepers, especially if you're playing in 2 quarterback league. Every quarterback's getting drafted, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Now, question for you: do you
Yes.
handicap
Yes.
Tyrod this year?
1,000 times yes. Cause if I had Tyrod, I'm going with Herbert as the backup because this just one sort of like Fitzpatrick in Miami. The job is not his,
Hey, man.
so
Yeah.
he's the guy you have to handicap. Since I said before, it's hard to call quarterback sleepers. I have a name for you I want to throw out just to see what you think. We talked a little bit about him last week. Haskins. Would you?
Dwayne Haskins is now that is one quarterback you might want to handicap because I'm gonna tell you something. The coach Ron Rivera just picked up the quarterback that he
Right.
last year in Carolina.
They tried to, I think, help out during the draft. So, and they have a kid. I should have written his name down. We talked about him like that receiver they have out there. He was a rookie last year. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love him.
Can't think of his name right off the top of my head.
I just can't think of his name right now.
I actually
he's
thought about
definitely
putting him on my
one of the
sleeper
guys.
list, but he played too much of the season. I was only going with wide receivers that play like 7 games. So, but yeah, I know you had some more people you wanted to talk.
I mean, you're talking about Scary Terry.
Scary Terry. Like that. Yeah, that's who. Scary Terry.
Yes, they call him Scary Terry. I think, and now Scary Terry is another.
Right, he's not
he
a
sleeper
such
to
a
me,
phenomenal.
because he had 900.
Yeah,
he had 900
that
yards
quarterback.
last year. He almost had 1,000
between
yards
that quarterback and
now
terrible guy that was there also.
are you talking about
Yeah,
I can't even think of his name.
Bad quarterback.
I can't think of his name.
And he still put up some big numbers. So, yeah.
I think see, but the thing with Dwayne Haskins is him and Scary Terry was in college together, so they have a connection from college. At the end of the day, so I feel like Dwayne Haskins is gonna have a good year? I say no. I still think he's gonna throw a lot of interceptions. He does a lot of mistakes, and he's really not that. I mean, I ain't gonna say he's a smart quarterback, but he'll make smart decisions. For me, now the one thing you can draft him because of the fact that he is a starting quarterback, and I tell this to people: starting quarterbacks are a luxury, especially in 2 quarterback leagues, because of the fact you need a multitude of quarterbacks. You need quarterbacks. If you got 2 quarterbacks, you need at least 4 on your roster to carry you through the season that if you lose two of your quarterbacks, you got to have somebody to replace them. So that's definitely somebody.
Yeah.
He's going to be on a roster because he's starting. Now, to the chance he loses his job, maybe yes, definitely, because Cal Anderson is definitely coming for his job, and I believe that. So,
who else you got?
And I got
surprise players we should be looking out for. Tyler Higbee. Me and you talked about Tyler Higbee a lot last year. He actually had 734 yards receiving last year and 3 touchdowns. I did not know that. Which, in that offense, I mean, I think he's good in that offense. And if I'm not mistaken, last year they said they was going to continue to build around that, not build around him in that offense, but they was going to put him more in the offensive playbook to kind of get him going this year. So, and he ain't got nobody out there that's competition for him. So, obviously, you got your top tight ends out there, but once you get past your first 5, it's pretty much anybody can go at that point as far as tight ends, because you only have really like 5 or 6 good tight ends in the league right now. And he may be in your top 10, but like low in your top 10. So I wouldn't say go out there and draft him like 4th round, but he's somebody that you can take a fly on, because he's going to be productive this year. If they do what they Pastor
did last
asked a
year.
question about whether you need 4 quarterbacks. So just for clarifying, in a 2-quarterback league, you do, because you're playing with 2 quarterbacks every week. It's a little bit different than the football you watch on TV with this part of fantasy. So you have 2 quarterbacks playing, and then when you account for bye weeks and the possibility of injuries, you want to at the least have 3, but that's not enough. You need 4, and we play in leagues, 2-quarterback leagues, where guys have a whole roster, like 5 or 6 quarterbacks. So, like, they drafted every quarterback out there on the market. And so, in 2-quarterback leagues, 4 is my personal minimum. Some people have done it with 3. I say I need at least 4 solid quarterbacks in a 2-quarterback league. Yeah.
Well, James, I hope you're listening to this, James, because James feel like he just don't need 4 quarterbacks. So, James, I just be trying to tell James, because he's coming into the gridiron this year.
Awesome.
He's one of the new guys. So I told him he's playing with a lot of vets in this league, and he talking about he about to come in and smash league, JJ. I'm gonna just need you to give him a little bit of information that this is what we do for a living now. We do this thing, man. We play in multiple leagues. And I be trying to I told him earlier today, I was like, You do know that you're going to lose, right? He was like, see, there you go again, right? And I was like, I'm just trying to tell you. I
say like this, then
it's the truth.
You in for a rude awakening if you don't think you need 4 quarterbacks. And in fact, I hope you say with that, only draft 3. Just draft 3. And I guarantee you, in that gridiron league, someone's going to come to you later in the season when you're desperate and be like, give me your best skill position player. So you need to listen. Like Pastor P just said, sometimes you gotta listen. You gotta listen. So we know what we're talking about here.
Hey, look, I told him he don't want to. He don't. JJ, I've been telling him since he joined, and he don't want to listen to me. He was like, "Man, I'm taking Tyrod with my first pick." I said, "You go ahead and take Tyrod with your first pick."
Oh, right, yeah. Welcome to the league. I will take your money right off the bat. So I appreciate that.
Yes, indeed. We're gonna take all of that. I told him.
But he's listening to the show right now, so hopefully he listens.
Come in, learn a little bit.
For what's coming up, we're gonna have a special 2-quarterback show where it's not all about 2 quarterback. We're gonna talk 2-quarterback systems in a later show this off season. So hopefully he'll be on that one, so he can get some of the tips from 2 people that know what they're doing.
Look, man, I try to help him out. I try to help him out every day and explain to him. And I give him little questions and stuff. So I asked him something the other day, and I was like, if you had the number 5 pick, the number 6 pick in Mahomes, Deshaun Watson, Breeze, who else did I say? Those 3 was off the board, pretty much. I said, where would you go? He was like, I'm probably going to go Tom Brady. I said, that's not bad. I said, well, I'm going Matty Ice. He was like, Matty Ice? What's wrong with you? I was like, see, you don't know nothing. I said, that's your problem right there.
Hey, we're actually talking quarterbacks next week. So I've got some comments about Tom Brady I'm going to throw out. It's not too crazy off the wall, but I got some feelings about Tom. Yeah. So Tommy, terrific.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
I
I
do too.
I save it
We're gonna keep
for
that for
next
next
week.
week. But yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Oh
So
yeah,
I
go
mean, we
for
got
it.
about 3 minutes. I'm gonna give you one more before we
Oh
go off.
wow.
I'm gonna do
Okay. Yeah.
Miles Sanders.
Yeah.
Uh, no Jordan Howard, no Darren Sproles.
Uh
Um,
huh.
and they said they're gonna give him 20 carries a game, 20 to 25 carries. So that's another one you
Yeah.
can look at. He actually had a productive year last year. He had 818 yards rushing and
Uh huh.
509 yards receiving. So if you think about it, he went over
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
thousand yards
That's a
total,
solid
over a
pickup.
thousand yards total for the year. And with him getting 25 carries plus catching out of the backfield, he could have close to a 1,800 yards. So
I don't know
he
if
might be close to
only thing
200,
about him. I
2,000
don't
yards
know how many people you're gonna sneak
total
up on with Miles because he had such a
if he's there.
unbelievably good season last year. But it's a great team in it because I was going to ask you about a player from that same team, Boston Scott, and what you thought. Nope.
No,
Just
I
no.
don't believe it. No, no.
That
Um, but first of all, Boston Scott is like 5'8", and he's about my height, and he's all of
yeah. So is Darren
165 pounds.
Sproles.
I mean, he's more of a rest of specialty plays for him. That's
Nothing
about
special.
it. Nothing special. Miles
Miles
Sanders is
Sanders
your
is the
guy you
guy to
need to have.
have. Boston Scott is the guy to pick up on free agency on your waiver wires or something like that. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, he might have like 1 or 2 good weeks, but you're not gonna
Right,
depend on him the whole year. Miles Sanders is somebody
right.
you actually probably can depend on and actually use in the league. But I mean, I don't see
Okay.
no. I don't think so.
I was
No,
trying to look for another running back.
no.
I didn't believe in it either, but I figured I'd throw his name out there. And since you definitely bought up
I mean,
Philadelphia, I said, well, I
it's
guess I ask anyway. So yeah,
but I got one for you. How do you feel about Sterling Shepard? What's your take on Sterling Shepard?
I don't. I'm trying to decide what I think about that whole team.
Okay.
He is not. I'm trying to think if I had to rank the players that I would get, where would Sterling Shepard go? Talking this,
He's the
yeah,
number one receiver.
but are you, are you going to take him? Okay, personal question: are you going to take him as your number one receiver, or do you think of him more as a second or third? Because I'm thinking of him. If I drafted him, he's like my. I'm thinking my third receiver on their team.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm saying he's the number one receiver on that team, but if you're thinking about in
yeah,
your roster, he's probably a wide receiver 3. But if you get a number one receiver at a wide receiver 3, that's not bad, honestly. I mean, that's still good because he's giving you wide receiver 1 numbers on a team basis. Instead, you probably gonna have a Julio Jones or somebody like that as your number one. He's just gonna blend in with a
right.
Julio Jones or somebody like that. You see what I'm saying? That's me. So I mean,
We talked. We talked a little bit last week about Daniel Jones. Uh, I think you like. I like him. I think. I think you
I like
like
Daniel Jones.
him a lot more probably than I do, and so I think that's
Mhm.
sort of what's limiting my desire to draft Sterling Shepard. Because here's my thing about wide, and we're going to talk wide receivers several weeks from now. My thing about wide receivers is there's so many of them. Certain players I don't want to pick at their draft value because here's the thing about wide receivers: there's so many of them, and they're gonna except for a few special guys like you have your Julio Jones, like you mentioned before, your
Tyreek
Tyreek
Hill
Hills.
and all that
You have
stuff.
these stellar guys. Sterling
Yeah.
Shepard to me is one of those wide receivers where I think I'm gonna have to draft above what I think he's worth.
Not really. I don't think so because if you think about it, you got Julio, Tyreek Hill. Um, if you definitely
Mm-hmm. Right. You probably 7, maybe 8. Oh, you're thinking for later than that. Okay.
Been out of the draft
Yeah.
that you can get two. So you probably can get Sterling
Right.
Shepard because one, he was hurt last year. Two, they weren't successful in winning. And three, you got people that's
Right.
leery about Dan.
Right.
I'm
Okay.
not. That's
I say it
my
like
take
this.
on it.
All right. Here's my last argument because I see we're going a bit over time. If I'm gonna draft I don't want to draft for. Like I said, I'm not big on wide. What I want from the Giants is the obvious. I want Saquon Barkley. But if I'm gonna draft a wide receiver for the Giants, I'm going with Darius
Okay.
Slayton because I think I can grab him later than I get a Sterling Shepard and probably get the same kind of results. Yeah,
So you feel like you can get the same
yeah.
value from both of
I,
them.
I
I mean, I ain't mad at that. I ain't mad at that. I mean, because you still
I've
have Golden
never
Tate
warmed
too.
to Golden
Do
Tate.
you get the same?
And I
Do you feel
probably
like all
am
of them
very
share
much
the same?
underselling his talent. I'm very.
Even in Detroit?
I admit I am very much underselling his talent, but Golden Tate's just never in my cup of tea. He
Oh
was.
my
He
gosh, he
was.
was a
He
PPR
was.
monster in
He
Detroit. Like he
was.
was a
Like I said,
PPR monster in
I'm
Detroit.
selling. I'm
Like
selling him short. I know.
he
I know. I
got you
am.
10
There's
receptions
certain.
a game.
There's certain players. Fantasy that even if it defies logic, you go with like for instance, it took me a while to warm up to Russell Wilson. It's taken me a while to warm up to Dak Prescott, but I acknowledge their talent. Golden Tate is just taking me a lot longer than most. And by the time he retires, I might be willing to give him some props and say, yeah, I should have drafted Golden Tate that day. But nah. Right.
I mean, I drafted Golden Tate a few
Okay.
times, and he's a PPR monster. Especially in Detroit when he had Matthew Stafford, he was a PPR monster, and he definitely was the guy. Like he was the man. Like because they didn't have anybody else. He was the number one receiver in the slot. He got all of the balls.
Right.
I mean, after Calvin Johnson left, obviously,
I think
but
what messed
he
up
was the man.
with
After
Golden
that.
Tate is
So,
he went to Notre Dame.
um,
I hate Notre Dame. And so he's forever he forever has that stench on. I think that's really
that's
what
just
it
your
is.
bias showing
So,
right there. See,
yeah.
okay.
I never
mean,
said
let's say
I
that.
said
Don't say
I
the man
admitted that
is
I'm
good. I mean,
underselling his
you be
talent.
killing.
But yeah. At any rate.
Okay, all right. Okay.
All right.
Well, thank you everybody for joining in
Yep.
tonight. We really appreciate y'all. Really, we do. We work hard in putting this show together, and we appreciate y'all coming in and after
Yeah.
this we answer, and we'll give you the best answer.
Thank you.
Promise
Thank
you
you
that.
for your
Just keep
viewership.
following us.
Yeah.
We
Thank you for your questions.
so,
Keep it going. Like I said, next week we're talking about quarterbacks, and no, Rodney, we're not talking Pat Mahomes the whole show. He will get obviously the mention that he's due, but there are other quarterbacks that we're gonna bring up because everybody already knows Pat Mahomes is the best quarterback out there. So unless my uncle's watching, in which he'll say is Lamar Jackson, but he lives up here in Baltimore, so I'm gonna let him have that.
well,
I'm gonna let him have that.
I take Pat Mahomes over Lamar Jackson. So yeah, it's just my thought. But
But we'll
can
talk that
about
next week. We'll talk that next week.
Yeah. So, well, we appreciate y'all and have a good
All right.
night. See y'all next
See
week.
you guys then. Thanks again. Keep tuned.